Hi guys, this is Jacques from MakuluLinux. Today I'm going to be showing off the very early I don't know how many pre-alpha build of MakuluLinux Xfce version 7.0. Now, before I go into all the details, I have actually had a lot of requests over the last, I'd say 10 or 11 months asking me to build a Ubuntu based Xfce build. Now, up until now I've kind of just declined because I'm not a big Ubuntu fan at all. I mean, at all. I'm probably one of the last guys out there that would even consider running an Ubuntu version. But I think over the last year I've been maybe getting a little bit bored with Debian. I don't know, maybe it's a bit of boredom, maybe it's just that I got tired of declining the email requests, from users. And so I thought, well, maybe it's something different for a change. Maybe I'd love to just sort of see how Ubuntu is put together, sort of get into the mechanics of things and check it out. And so I started sort of playing with it a few months ago, and I put it on the back burner, and I played again with it a bit, put it on the back burner. And truthfully, I find Debian actually easier to build on than Ubuntu, because firstly with Ubuntu I had to strip it down to virtually the bare kernel and build up from there onwards, and it was just issue after issue after issue that I had. I mean, I couldn't even get Compose to run well stably, or I couldn't get Compose to even run stable. That was an issue, just getting Compose in Debian install. It works. Couple of issues with text and minor things that I fixed, and then there we go, off it runs. With Ubuntu it was an issue and a half. I mean, especially with the new 14.04 kernel, the kernels that came out with build 14.04. I mean, I think CPU usage was well into the 70% with Compose, as well as RAM usage shot up here to 500-600 megs of RAM. So Compose was almost something that was not able to run on the new Unity or the new Ubuntu. So the only way for me to sort of get rid of all those issues, and I'm just speaking just about Compose here, there are many other issues that I had to literally strip everything down, remove everything Ubuntu related, virtually just the kernels that are there, and of course the sources list, because obviously since it's a Ubuntu kernel, it gets its updates from the Ubuntu repositories. So yeah, so this is a Ubuntu version 7.0 for those guys that sent all those many emails. I'm sure you guys will be happy with this. This is based on the Ubuntu kernels, and it is obviously Xfce 4.10 running the Thunol 1.63. And apart from the fact that it's the Ubuntu kernel, not much else is different to the Debian version of Xfce. And yes, I am busy working on a Debian version as well, although I'm not even sure when that will be released or if it will be released. I don't quite see the point of doing a Debian and an Ubuntu version of the same edition, but just in case, because I actually wasn't even sure whether I was going to get this build to run properly, I did also simultaneously work on a Debian edition, so I have both. But at this point in time I feel like a change, I guess, something different. And like I said, I did have a lot of requests. I mean, it's hundreds of emails of people asking me to make a Ubuntu version, or Ubuntu based version, put it that way. I guess they're just the guys that like Ubuntu, maybe don't like what Ubuntu's become, but at one stage they did like the Ubuntu, or did like Ubuntu. So yeah, so this is it. This is the pre-alpha build. Keep that in mind. It's a very early glimpse, the very first glimpse into this new build. So these icons, obviously, they're on the desktop now. Once I hit alpha stage and start cleaning things up, they'll be in the menus, and they'll actually have more functionality than just turning Compose on and off. But for now, that's their purpose. and I just put them on the desktop for easy access for the sake of this video. So if we look, you'll notice there's a lot more transparency in this build. I've gone all out with transparency because, you know, it's modern times, and it's not just, you can't just have functionality anymore, you got to have eye candy as well. And transparency seems to be in fashion right now. So even with compass off, you've got the transparent panel at the bottom, you've got a transparent border on top. I've got the same sleek, nice theme that I used in the Cinnamon edition. I've carried over into the new Xfce edition. So and you'll notice the speed. This is very fast. This is way faster than if you just installed Xfce on Ubuntu itself. I mean, Xfce was also a little sluggish. I've had to do a lot of configuring and recompiling shit to get it to run this nice and smooth. Now if I turn compass on, obviously that's where the magic starts, because the first thing you'll notice is the speed. Remember, I'm running this inside a virtual box, a virtual PC on a laptop, not even a desktop. So the speed is amazing, I tell you. And of course you'll notice the transparency really kick in here, because here it's not just the top border that's transparent, but also the side and bottom borders, which obviously then sort of line up nicely with the bottom panel that is transparent. So there's a lot of transparency here, very nice looking. You know, you've got your file manager or whatever program you got open. You know, it sort of almost looks like it's lying as a layer on top of a transparent background almost. You know, it's, I mean, you can see here on the sides the transparency at the bottom, the top, and of course the bottom panel. So and of course I've kept everything else standard. This pretty much looks and feels like version 6.0 did, with the whisker menu on the left, and of course the Slings Cold menu on the right, fully functional, both of them, and the clock, you know, the rest of your icons there, the rest of the shortcuts there. This is pretty much not that different. If you ran version 6.0 of MakuluLinux Xfce, version 7.0 is basically just the next step in evolution, you know. Just a lot more eye candy and a lot more speed. This is way faster than 6.0 ever was, and I'm actually, that is probably what made me choose the Ubuntu version at the end of the day. It was the version that I struggled with the most. You know, I've never built on Ubuntu before, so I had to well, I'll put it this way, even my tools to compile the ISO didn't obviously work on this version. I had to sort of you know, reinvent the wheel on that one. But at the end of the day, the fact that it was running so slow that I was sort of ready to scratch the build, and I managed to get it to the point where it is so fast, you know, that was I think the decider for me at the end of the day. I was like, interesting. So now that's nice, you know. I like the fact that it's so fast, and you know, the rest is just well, it took a while for me to get used to the way Ubuntu works with their PPAs and so forth. But I do like their driver manager, you know. So as you can see, I'm running inside a VirtualBox, so it's running just on the guest editions driver. I mean, I don't even think there's much 3D in there, and you can see the speed, you know, it's super fast. Just open the Google Chrome here, and you'll see that even with Chrome, you know, it's the compose is like amazingly just flies. And you can see the look here. Even Chrome looks like it's lying on top of a transparent layer from the, like background layer. It's very nice, I must tell you. I don't know, you're only seeing it now for like a second or two, but actually working with it, it kind of just feels like, wow, this is nice. It's like, wow, so you kind of get that wow feeling while you're kind of just doing whatever you're doing. And of course, included is a lot of emerald themes, so you can change that border to, a whole bunch of others. And I'll add more. This is very early pre-alpha build. I just downloaded a few, and I started editing one that we'll be using as the default. So that will be the default one. And if you actually change the background to something else, let's take I love that one. You'll see there, it's almost like your file manager's lying on a, and even if you turn off Compass at this stage and then open up your file browser, there's still a lot of transparency even with Compass off. So the guys that do run the much older hardware that will not be using Compass, you still will have nice, a nice amount of transparency on your system. So that's always nice. So yeah, this is MakuluLinux Xfce 7.0, very early build. Just showing off some of the eye candy that I've got working and the speed that it's working at. And if I actually run top here, you'll actually see CPU menu, CPU usage, memory usage. You'll actually see it's very low. I mean, it's very nice, very smooth. Of course, if the moment you start doing stuff, your CPU spikes, which is normal on any system, and when you stop, the CPU usage comes down again. Just give it a second, and there we go, down to 3.3 again. So it's running very well, I must say. I'm very impressed with my work so far. And it's funny, I always seem to impress myself. But anyway, yeah, this is Jacques from MakuluLinux, just showing off the new Xfce build that I'm working on. And for a change, it's something different. I'm actually quite excited. I started this and I was thinking, well, what am I getting myself into here? Why am I even playing with this? But I guess this is a new twist in the MakuluLinux chapter. In a way, it also shows that we aren't, I'm not just not flexible. Users ask for something, I give it. Of course, in this case, a lot of users had to ask before I would give it, but it is here. You can't always just sort of have one vision. So yeah, this build is very nice, by the way. It will probably be, the alpha and beta builds will probably be coming within the next few weeks. But once this is out, I will, if the users request, I will probably make a Debian version, or finish the Debian version as well. But I have a feeling that once the guys actually run this, and get over the fact that it's an Ubuntu kernel, actually just run it, they'll most likely forget all about the Debian version of this. Now, this does not mean that I will be making only Ubuntu builds from now on. This is based on the LTS build, so it does have a 5-year support on it, on kernel, upcoming kernels and so forth. So you don't have to worry. I didn't go in with this with a 9-month vision only. This does have 5-year support on it, so that is always nice. But yeah, I just wanted to flex my muscles a bit, do something different for a change. Like I said, I was a bit bored with Debian. Maybe take a little bit of a break, which is what this is. I will obviously, with the next build, decide, the users can then choose whether they want me to make another Ubuntu based version or Debian based version. I'm quite missing Debian at this stage, or building on Debian, so I'll most likely go back to Debian. This may just be a once-off kind of thing, I don't know. I guess popularity will speak for itself as well. But at this point in time, it's running very nice, it's very smooth, it's actually runs amazing. And yeah, I guess that's it from me for today. Very early build.